To 5 Minutes with Mr. Graham. Today we're going to talk about four quadrants. It's a tough one. It's a tough one for some kids. They get a little lost, and 5 minutes might not be enough. But you know, these videos are they're just extra help. You can always ask questions in class or ask mom and dad. But let's see what we can do with 5 minutes in four quadrants. Press play, and off we go. Now, what I mean when I say four quadrants is, and we're going to spend some time with this graph right here, is that you may be used to graphing just in one area, in the upper right quadrant, otherwise known as quadrant 1. This is quadrant 1. And everything there makes sense to you. Zeros right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 along the x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up the y. But what I'm telling you is that there are three other quadrants. We may as well label them while we're talking about them in terms of numbers. This is quadrant 1. This is quadrant 2. To the left of it is quadrant 3. And above that is quadrant 4. And the problem is that some kids they get lost. There's up, there's down, there's left, there's right, there's negative, there's positive. And just being familiar with how these four quadrants work is a battle in itself. You just have to remember that the 0 is in the middle. If you go right, you're positive on the x-axis. If you go left, you're negative on the x-axis, and you get more and more negative, bigger negative numbers. If you go up, you're positive on the y-axis, and if you go down, you get negative, more and more negative as you go down on the y-axis. And you know, it's tough at first, but if you just use your eyes and just stay calm and read the graph, you usually are going to be okay. Let's erase these real quick, and let's play around with this graph here. You see that we have a campfire in the middle. That campfire represents 0. And then we have other tents. It's like it's a map almost. And the question they're going to ask you is, which tent is located at point -4, 3? Now, things we've learned about grids and ordered pairs, they're still true. There's just more places to go, that's all. So the first number is the x-axis, and we have to move not this way, because if we moved this way, that would be in positive land. And the first number is on the x-axis, it's negative. We have to go backwards to -4. The second number is 3, and that means we have to go up. 1, 2, 3. So the answer for this particular question would be B, which is tent Q. But I'm curious, could you in your head tell me what tent P is? Go ahead, I'll count in my head like 5 seconds. Do you know what tent P is? Say it before I say it. It's 3, 4. How about tent S? Can you say in your head what tent S is? Its ordered pair before I do? It's 4, -3. And how about tent R? I'll write this one down. Can you say in your head what tent R is before I spoil it? Start at 0. It's -3, -4. And if you're following along so far, good for you. Let's try another sample problem. The map below shows location of 4 different stores. Okay. The shoe store, the toy store, the hardware store, and the grocery store. Which store is at the point 3, -1? Start at 0. The first number tells you what to do on the x-axis. It says +3, so we move to the right. 1, 2, 3. Then it says after that, -1. The second number is the y-axis. -1 doesn't mean up 1. No toy store. It means down 1 to the hardware store. A is the answer. How about this one? The map below shows locations of rides at an amusement park. Our timer's up. This will be the last one. Maria was at point -1, -4. Okay, so it said where she was. She's at point -1, -4. To find that, we have to go to the left to -1 and down to -4. This is where Maria was, that little red dot that I just made. Now let's read what the question says. It says, she walked 2 units west. This is west. It says so right here. Okay, so she walked 2 units west and 2 units north. North is up. Which ride did she walk to? Well, I think you can see that she went to the Little Dipper. So B would be the answer. B. Alright guys, that's all the time we have. For quadrants, you know, it's a tough one until you get used to it. But as soon as you get used to it, you can see that it's just like reading a map. It's the same exact thing as reading a map. You've got a 0 in the middle, which is where you should usually start, and you've got different directions you can go. And you always want to go either east or west, left or right first along that x-axis. And if you go one direction, you're positive. If you go the other, you're negative. Then after that, you want to go up or down. If you go up, you're positive. If you go down, you're negative. And just like before, x-axis is first. So the Sky Train, for example, that's -4, -3. The Little Dipper is -3, -2. The Ferris wheel is -4, +2. The water slide is 2, 1. The log ride is 6, 2. The giant coaster is 1, -3. And the only way to get better at something like this is just through practice. If you need help in class, be sure to ask me, but we're way over our time. Thanks for joining me. 5 minutes with Mr. Graham.